بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أبنائنا الطلبة طلبة إنجليش، المفروض إن إحنا عايزين نشتغل مع بعض النهاردة Zoom lecture number 3 regarding managerial accounting, and we were finished half of chapter 3 regarding horizontal cost accounting, that is the CVB analysis, as we explained in the previous Zoom lecture. And we are now about slide, I think, 22. That is how to use the CVB analysis example in decision making. Now, if you remember this example, we have sale price of 70, purchase price for pair of bands 32 plus excess variable cost 10, so 42. So contribution margin per unit is 28. We have total fixed cost of 84,000 for the example we are using in this chapter. Now, suppose that management anticipates selling 3,200 pairs of pants. Management is considering an advertising campaign that would cost 10,000. It is anticipated, it is expecting that the advertising will increase sales to 4,000 units. So instead of 3,200, sales will be 4,000 units by the same conditions we have, but just we will increase fixed cost by 10,000. That is for advertising, as he said. Should the business advertise? So we have to compare the position before advertising and the position after advertising. If we have excess operating income, we may accept. Now, 3,200 pairs of pants, that's the normal sale. With no advertising, contribution margin equal 3,200 times the 28 contribution margin per unit gives 89,600. If deducting the fixed cost 84, it gives 5,600. So this is the existed operating income. Now, suppose that we will advertise and we will sell 4,000 pairs of pants instead of 3,200. Now, contribution margin 4,000 times 28 gives 112,000 contribution margin. We will deduct fixed cost, not 84. No, 84 plus 10, that is advertising, 94, it gives 18,000. As operating income was 5,600 and became 18,000, so we are accepting the decision to advertise and to get more operating income. Using CVB analysis example, another example. Instead of advertising, management is considering reducing the selling price to 61 per pair of pants. Remember again that we were selling the pair of pants for $70. To decrease the price from 70 to 61, this means decreasing the selling price by $9 for each pair of pants. And you know that decreasing price encourage those customers to purchase more. That's why he said that it is anticipated that this decrease in prices will increase sales to 4,500. Shall we fulfill this or not? So all the figures we have are the same, no advertisement, but the new decision is decreasing the sale price of 70 to 61. Is it a good decision or not? Should management decrease the selling price per pair to 61? We will see. The existed position is that we have sales of 3,200 pairs of pants times 28 contribution margin minus 84,000 fixed cost. It gives me, in the same sale price, 5,600. I will let you to see it again here. That is 3,200 pairs of pants times 28 contribution margin gives 89,600 minus the normal fixed cost 84 gives 5,600. Okay, we will repeat now, but regarding 4,500 pairs of bands with the same fixed cost 84,000, but contribution margin will be changed because we will not sell the pair of band for 70. It will be 61. So 70 minus 42, it was giving 28. Now 61 minus variable cost 42 gives only 19. 4,500 pair of bands times 19, the new contribution margin with the selling price of 61 instead of 70, it gives 85,500. If deducting fixed cost 84,000, it gives operating income of 1,500 instead of 5,600. So the decision will be, please don't decrease the price. If you have two decisions, decreasing the price or fulfilling the advertisement, no, fulfill the advertisement. Otherwise, you have to stay on your existed position. Use CVP analysis to plan fixed and variable costs. It's very important, really. You know that contribution margin per unit means sale price minus variable cost. Contribution margin percentage means sale price minus variable cost divided sale price, or sales value minus total variable cost divided sales value. Now, to get quantity of break even, you have to divide total fixed cost by contribution margin per unit. If you want to get the value of break even, you have to divide total fixed cost by contribution margin percentage. How to plan for fixed and variable costs? This is the case. Now, suppose that the factory, the pen shop is using to obtain the merchandise offer the following. So we were purchasing the pens from a merchandise who sells it for us for 32. Then we have another variable cost per unit that is 10. That's why we said variable cost per pair of pens equal 42. Decrease this factory, decrease the price they charge from 32 to 25. So instead of purchasing the pens for 32 plus the existed $10 other variable cost, we will purchase for 25 only. And this change an annual administrative, he will charge annual administrative fee of 30,000. So instead of purchasing the pair of band for 32 as variable cost, it will be 25. So there is a decrease in variable cost, but he increased or he brought a $30,000 as fixed cost. So now we haven't only variable cost of 32. No, we have variable cost of 25 plus 10 excess variable cost as the case before, and fixed cost of 30,000 in purchasing these pens. What is the new contribution margin? Now, 70 pounds, that is the sale price, no change in it, minus 25 instead of 32, that is the purchase price per pens, plus 10 excess variable cost as we know, so the contribution margin will be 35 instead of 42. Contribution margin increased from 28 to 35, that's right. What is the contribution margin percentage? It is now 35 divided 70, it gives 50% instead of 40% before. It was 28 divided 70. Now 35 divided 70, it gives 50%. What is the new fixed cost? The fixed cost was only 84,000, but it is increased by this position by 30,000 excess. So it will be 114,000. So the case with you is that instead of having 42 variable costs per unit, it is 35. Instead of having contribution margin of 28, that is 70 minus 42, you have 35. So increase in contribution margin, but we have increase in fixed costs also. Instead of 84, it became 114,000. What is the case? Management questions what sales volume would yield an identical operating income regardless of the arrangement. So with the new arrangement or with the old arrangement, we want to arrive to the same quantity. I mean, the same quantity to sell to have the same contribution margin or the same operating income. Now, 28, that is the contribution, the old contribution margin, $28 per unit. If deducting 84,000, it gives operating income, 28 contribution margin per unit times X units. Then we will deduct the 84,000. The new arrangement, 35 contribution margin per unit times X units minus the new fixed cost, 114,000. So now the difference in fixed cost, 30,000, equal the difference between contribution margin multiplied by X, that is 7X. So X should equal 4,286 pairs of bands approximately. Cost with existing arrangement equal cost with new arrangement, 0.6x. This means 0.6 times x plus 84,000 gives 0.5x plus 114,000. To explain it to you, you have contribution margin of 0.4, so the remaining is 0.6. In the new arrangement, you have contribution margin 0.5, so the remaining is 0.5x. So now 0.60x plus 84 equal 0.50x plus 114,000. So 0.1x equal 30,000, so x equal $300,000. The $300,000 times 40% minus 84 gives 36. The same $300,000 times 0.5 then in the new arrangement minus the new fixed cost give 36,000. What about operating leverage? What about operating leverage? Try to study this Zoom lecture, and if there is any problem in the previous example, I will explain to you in the face-to-face lecture if you ask about it. Operating leverage now, we explained through using 3 different methods. If you remember, we divided contribution margin by operating income. This is one method. 1 plus total fixed cost divided operating income. This is the second method. Then the third method is 1 divided safety margin percentage. Here he will use just one method of the 3, that is contribution margin divided operating income. It doesn't matter, but he will explain it to you. Operating leverage describes the effects that fixed costs have on changes in operating income as changes occur in units sold. If you remember, last live lecture, face-to-face lecture, I explained to you at the beginning of lecture how to get the operating income using operating leverage in case of increasing or decreasing sales. So the existing operating income, we was multiplying by 1 plus or 1 minus. 1 plus in case of increasing sales, 1 minus in case of decreasing sales. So the existing operating income plus times 1 plus the operating leverage times the percentage of increase in sales, or existing operating income times 1 minus the percentage of decrease in sales times operating income. He gives you the new income after increasing or decreasing the sales. Here he is explaining organizing with a high proportion of fixed costs have high operating leverage. This is a new idea he is giving to you. He said that when increasing fixed cost, this gives a higher operating leverage, and the example will explain that. Degree of operating leverage equal contribution margin divided operating income. What is the degree of operating leverage of the pants shop at the 3,500 sales level under both arrangements. Under both arrangements. The existing arrangement, the existing case, the existing position is 3,500 units times 28 gives 98,000 contribution margin. Remember that this is contribution margin. If we will deduct fixed cost, 84, it gives 14,000 operating income. 14,000 operating income. Dividing the contribution margin by the 14,000 operating income gives operating leverage of 7. So the operating leverage is 7. The new arrangement, you have fixed cost not 84, but 114,000. And the contribution margin is differed also. What about the new arrangement? I said that 3,500 times 35 contribution margin, because we decreased sale price to B61. So I have 122,500 contribution margin. What about the operating income? The 122,500, I have to deduct the 114,000 fixed cost in the new arrangement. It gives 8,500 operating income. Now with the 122,500 contribution margin by 8,500, it gives 14.4. So the operating leverage increased from 7 to 14.4 by increasing fixed cost and decreasing variable cost per pence. The degree of operating leverage at a given level of sales helps managers calculate the effect of fluctuations in sales on operating income. Effects of sales mix. As I told you in the lecture before the last lecture, we explained how to get the break even in case of having sales mix. And I told you that the quantity of break even normally equal total fixed cost divided contribution margin percentage. Value of break even equal usually total fixed cost divided contribution margin percentage. But now suppose that we have sales mix. So I haven't just one product, I have more than one product. So I have the sales mix of each product. That's why if contribution margin per unit for X, for example, multiplied by its sales mix percentage, and for Y multiplied by its sales mix, and for Z multiplied by its sales mix, and add all this, it gives weighted average contribution margin. The same, suppose that we have contribution margin percentage for 3 products. If multiplying the sales mix percentage by each percentage of contribution margin for each product and add them together, we get the weighted average contribution margin percentage. Now, total fixed cost in the numerator divided by weighted average contribution margin percentage to get the value, or divided the weighted average contribution margin per unit to get the quantity of break even for the sales mix you have. He will give me an example here. Bench shop example. Management expects to sell 2 shirts at 20 each for every pair of bands it sells. So every pair of bands, we will sell in front of it 2 shirts for 20 each. This will not require any additional fixed cost. So the same fixed cost of 84,000 we have. Now, suppose that variable cost per shirt is 9. So contribution margin per shirt 20 minus variable cost 9 gives 11. But we will sell 2 shirts. So 11 times 2, it gives you 22 contribution margin for the 2 shirts. At the same time, we have $28 as contribution margin per pair of pants. The pair of pants, I mean the one pants, gives 28. From where we got this? Because we sell it for 70 and its variable cost is 42. 70 minus 42, if you remember, gives 28. So 28, that is contribution margin per pants, plus 2 times 11, the 2 shirts contribution margin gives 50. So 50 is the contribution margin of the 3 pieces. I mean, 1 piece of pants and 2 pieces of shirts. 84,000 fixed cost divided 50, it gives 1,680 packages. What is meant by packages? The package mean 1 pants plus 2 chairs. So 1,680 times 2 gives 3,360 chairs times 1, the sales mix, gives 1,680 pairs of pants, the total 5,040. Now, effects of sales mix on income. What is the break even in dollars? The 3,360 chairs times 20, it gives $67,200. The 1,680 pairs of pants times 70 gives $117,600. The total $184,800 as the break-even point in dollar regarding the package. The products we sell, or the sales mix, that is the 2 chairs plus 1 pair of pants. Effects of sales mix on income, we are in the same title. What is the weighted average budgeted contribution margin? We have 1 pant times 28 and 2 chairs times 11. So 50 times divided 3 gives 16.667. That is the contribution margin as weighted average contribution margin. The break-even point for the 2 products is 84,000 by 16.667. That is 5,040 as we explained before. Then 540 times 1/3 and 540 times 2/3 gives 1,680 pairs of pants and 360 chairs. Now, effects of sales mix on income. What is the income in this case? Sales mix can be stated in sales dollar. Sale price per pant 70, sale price for the 2 shares equal 40. Variable cost per pants 42, that's why contribution margin is 28, but per 2 shares, 2 times 9, 18, so we have 22. If dividing the contribution margin of the pants by its sale price, it gives 40%. If dividing 22, that is the contribution margin per 2 shares by the sale price of the 2 shares, gives 55%. Now, assume the sales mix in dollars. He give an assumption for a new example. Is 63.6% pants and 36.4% for chairs. It was 2/3 and 1/3 in case of quantity. Weighted contribution would be 40% times 63.6%, that is the sales mix percentage, 55% times 36.4%, that is the sales mix percentage for the chairs, gives 25.44 for pants and 20.02% for chairs. The total is 45.46% for both together. Break-even sales dollars equal the 84,000 fixed cost divided the 45.46%, the weighted average contribution margin percentage, gives 184,778 approximately. Now, this result, if multiplied by the percentage regarding the pants and the percentage regarding the chairs, it gives you 117,519 pants sales and 67,259 chairs sales. The slides of Horingron chapter 3 is finished, and I'm saying thanks for good listening. And if there is any question regarding Zoom 1, Zoom 2, Zoom 3, you have to ask me in the face-to-face lecture next Monday, inshallah. شكرا جزيلا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.